Welcome back to the X Factor podcast with today's guest, Brandon Williams, or also known as B-Dub. This is one of the interviews, Brandon, I got to be honest, that I'm most excited for, just in the interactions that you and I have had. I really look forward to it. I look up to you, and there's a lot of people who look up to you, man.
Hey, this is the coolest thing we got going at Lease End, dude. The X Factor and everything that you've done with this is cool, man.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
We've had some opportunity to sit down and rub shoulders with people who just have done some incredible things. And that's, I think a lot of people especially from the sales side, a lot of people have this hey, they know that you're CEO. They understand that you're doing something special here at Lease End, but they don't know anything about your backstory. And
it's probably better that way, for being honest.
Today we're getting into it. But look, this isn't from the first time I met you, one thing that I've learned with you, B-Dub, is you're really good at building relationships. I've sat down with you with our banking partners, and I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it with you recruiting individuals early on when I was first here at Lease End, recruiting some heavy hitters and watching you build relationships. I've watched it personally with myself. You've had family that's worked here that I've rubbed shoulders with, that you have great relationships with. So it's really cool to see what you've done, and that's I think an aspect as we're growing as a company that, I think this is going to give an opportunity for a lot of people to truly see B-Dub and who he is. So
there's not much there, but I do like people, and it's really what this whole business is about. So.
Absolutely. Well, let's dive in. So let's rewind. Early on in your career, let's jump back to your early 20s. Who was B-Dub back in the early 20s? Where did you start? Was it you just started, starting businesses from the get-go, or what happened?
Well, it's kind of funny, back in my 20s and kind of figuring out what I really wanted to be when I grew up, and still trying to figure that out, to be honest. But just grew up in this entrepreneurial family, with a grandfather on the Williams side that was one of the founders of Ore-Ida Foods, and then a grandfather on the Hemsley side that started Hemsley Sales and Service, a little auto mechanic shop in Rupert, Idaho. So, you look at this beautiful lamp we have here. I know these are pistons and air filters and disc brakes, because that's what I did in the summers. Was worked in a little auto mechanic shop, and got to see, firsthand, what it was like to run your own business. And then, being the son of a father who got involved with an auto dealership and worked his way to the top and eventually purchased those dealerships. But so that was my mindset, when I was 20, is well, what am I going to go do for myself? That's how I was raised. That's what I saw. That's, was my life growing up, was that you just kind of took matters into your own hands as far as putting food on the table and how you were going to do that. So that's what I was trying to figure out in my 20s, is what I wanted to do.
Trying to figure it out. What were a couple things you tested back in your 20s? What were some of those?
Oh, my word. I remember even in high school, I got involved with this multi-level marketing thing. And I got to design my own logo, and I don't even think, no one even knows this.
Yeah.
This is the first I've even talked about it.
Good, dive in.
I'm down in my bedroom and on some laptop, back when the internet was all over fax lines and dial up and all that stuff. And so my company's name's Gusto, so I built this logo, and nothing ever happened of it. And I can't even remember how much product I had to buy, or whatever.
Yeah.
But, it was tinkering around with things like that, and just experimenting with, little businesses that, might turn into something someday. But
that's awesome. That's awesome. Now, when you look back at your business career, when was the true first successful business that you started and that you were a part of?
Well, Jeremy Hanks started a business called Gear Trade, and he brought me back. I was living in Northern California at the time, working for Hart Hanks Communications, and we were college buddies, and he brought me back to do biz dev.
Hmm.
And so that was fun because it was total startup. It was, late nights, sleeping at the office,
Yeah.
found myself in the hospital with pneumonia, all that fun stuff.
Hmm.
That business was sold. And then together we started a business that eventually turned into Doba.
Hmm.
And so Doba was the first successful exit that I was involved with from the start. And so that was a really cool tech company that allowed online e-tailers to come together and find products and drop ship products to the end consumer. And so it was really cool to see what it took to really start a business and all the ins and outs and all the fun stress that comes along with that. And
Yeah.
so that was my first real business from the beginning, from the start, to see all the way through to
And it was a
to an
tech
exit.
play.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So heavy on the tech play.
Yeah.
And how old were you when you started that?
Oh man, I
remember?
was 27.
Cool. Because I was sitting down, Brian Murphy,
Yeah.
and we were having a conversation, and he had said something one time. He's like, "Look, early on in your career, the best thing you can do is focus on gaining skills, focus on on building a network, the people you're around." He's like, later in life is when you'll start to make your real money. He's like, don't be stressed when you're newlywed, you're fresh out of college, that like now's the time you have to do it, right? I thought that was great advice. But looking back at your story, your history, like what kind of advice would you give to, say, one of your kids comes and sits down with you in their early 20s? What's the advice you're giving to them as they're looking at their career?
Yeah. So I, never give up on your goals and your vision, and because some of these things do take time, and some of them never materialize, but you continue to never give up on it. A wise man once said that if you don't love what you do, love why you do it, right? And so if you feel like you're just going to work because you have to make money and support your family or support your dreams, that's okay, because you're taking care of your family, you're growing something at home. And so if you're trying as hard as you can and trying a new business or experimenting with something and it's not happening, understand why you're doing it, why, and gain a love for why you do it. So that would probably be my biggest advice as far as starting something that fails or just having the courage to do something and then you get kicked down and we're here to test, be proven.
Yeah.
We're here to grow, and in order to do that, you got to be broken sometimes.
I remember my father-in-law, right after the first business I had started, the first sale that I'd gotten. Yeah. My father-in-law, he's in the kitchen when I landed the sale, and he looks at me and he's like, "Enjoy this for a few seconds, and then figure out a way to fall in love with the process of how you just got that sale." Yeah. He's like, that sale is not the end goal. He's like, fall in love with the process of like what you're becoming and what you're doing throughout that time. So kind of on that, like, what is your why then? Like, what has been your driver? Is you're going to work, and because you can't always control the outcome, it's not always a home run, but like, what's that why for Brandon Williams?
Well, you mentioned people, so I do like people.
Okay.
I like to be around fun people, exciting people motivate me and energize me. And so to have a business where you get to choose the people that you associate with, whatever business it is, it just happens to be in the auto space, and we help people exit their lease at Lease End, but it's all about the people. So that's my why, is being around people that help me, motivate me, challenge me, help me be a better person. And so that's what I'm looking for every day when I come to work, is like, what can I learn from that person? What is that person teaching me? Because I feel like I'm the sponge. Because we've surrounded ourselves with so many superstars. We are so lucky with the talent we have here. So it's just a beautiful day every day at work to learn and grow from those around us.
Okay, so let me push you on that just a little bit. I'm curious, like, what's Brandon learned recently? because that is a really cool concept of, hey, let me be the sponge. You're the CEO of the company, man. Like I love it. Like it's so cool. So what's Brandon learned recently that you're like, hey, this is something I've soaked up recently that I'm loving.
Well, I've learned, I won't say who it's from recently, but just some boundaries, like setting some boundaries that are healthy and stick to them, and not necessarily be concerned about who could take offense to some decisions or some ways of doing business. But like doing the right thing is hard sometimes, most of the time. Right. And so I've learned recently from a really good leader in our company to set healthy boundaries and to stick to them, you know. I'm typically a people pleaser, you know.
Me too. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that can come back and bite us.
Yeah.
When we don't have these healthy boundaries, you know, that if we're always just trying to please people all the time, we're never going to please it. We can't
please
it's not
everybody.
possible, right?
No.
So just being a little more mature in some boundaries is something that I've been learning lately.
That's something I can get better at.
Yeah.
That is, because man, dude,
Yeah.
you and I got good intentions, and
Right?
you know, it's not like we wake up every morning and say, hey, I'm going to be a people pleaser today.
Yeah.
No, that's our kind of natural instinct is to go that route. And
yeah, because you want to make people happy and help and do all those things. But
yeah, you know, the thing that for me on that topic that's kind of, you know, unique challenges, because I've had to learn that not everybody's has the same intentions of me.
Yeah.
Maybe that sounds horrible, but it's like, because I give people the benefit of the doubt of like, man, if I was in their shoes, I'd be honest and I'd be doing these things and you know, I don't have to have all the boundaries around me personally, but it's like I have really good intentions and it's like, but it is healthy to have those boundaries and
That's
healthy
right.
that's awesome. That's cool.
So.
Okay. Can we pivot and talk about family for a minute?
Yeah.
What role has family played throughout your career?
Well, family's cool, man. Our family is really, really cool. We've been blessed. We have a wonderful patriarch and matriarch. My mom and dad, you know, are really cool. My siblings, we're all super tight. We still love each other. And our kids hang out a lot with their cousins. And so, you know, I grew up in a family that had both grandparents relatively close. Okay. So I grew up and my best friends were my cousins. And my best, you know, memories are Christmases and Thanksgiving and doing things with family, you know, and, you know, building projects with cousins. And so family's just been my whole life, you know, and so we try to treat, you know, everything like our businesses, like it's family, you know, it's like, I feel like we're family, you know, and most people here, it's like, yeah, he's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Like he's family, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's been everything. And it, you know, it's always about the family for me.
And specifically with your wife.
Yeah.
Like, because being an entrepreneur, like, that's a lot of time. And I believe you and I have talked in the past where, like, you were traveling for a bit of time. Was it between California and Utah?
Yeah, there's a couple times in our marriage that where I went before the family came, and they're not good. You know, we would go back and we probably wouldn't do that again.
Yeah.
You know, that wasn't fun at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, Dixie and I have worked really hard, you know, to support one another. And she supported me in all my crazy, stupid ideas. And, and, you know, she has some crazy, stupid ideas too that I support her. And so it's worked really well. And then we've grown a family of 7 kids along the way.
7 kids.
So
I know, you know, Audrey was here and she'd gotten married, and then you were adopted right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
Right. So you got one's moved out and brand new baby in the house.
Yeah. So, yep, we adopted a little boy a few months ago. So we have an 8-month-old boy living in our home and changing our lives, and it's been awesome.
Can I ask you, like, how did you end up on that decision? 'Cause, like, that's
well, you'll have to bring Dixie in.
deal.
She, no, after Tori, our 11-year-old now, we felt like we needed to adopt a baby. And so we've been trying for 9 years.
Wow.
And it just didn't play out like we thought. And so we kind of gave up on the idea and moved on. And then it just all kind of fell into our laps. And so it was meant to be this way. And it's so cool. It's really cool to have a little baby. I tell everybody I'll be 69 when I'm an empty nester, dude. So
That's so cool.
maybe we can do this when I can actually go play and have fun. And,
oh, geez. You're telling me you're not having fun right now? You're not
We are having a pretty good time, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, that's awesome. And so like looking at, Lease End employees, we have a wide variety of employees, but I think there's a chunk, like a big chunk, that are kind of in that young family stage. And so just like thinking of sitting down with them and giving advice of like, hey, you already mentioned, my wife and I could go back, we probably wouldn't have done that. What kind of advice as far as, focus on the family and stuff would you give to these young families?
It's a grind, dude. It's hard, to raise a family in today's world, and and to find time for one another, and most of the time as the breadwinner of the home, we feel like we're doing our part if we're out, putting food on the table, right? And there's a lot more to it than just that. And so, there's a lot we can learn to be better spouses and better friends to those that that we love and support. But I don't have any secret sauce, dude, other than to grind and to know that it will be all worth it in the end, and to grow together and figure it out together. It's like we're going to make mistakes and we're going to screw up, but one thing Dixie and I have always trusted one another is like when we decide we're going to do something, when we both feel that it's right and we're moving forward, that we're all in.
Yeah.
And because if something goes wrong, there's no blame game happening.
100%.
Well, this is what you wanted. Well, no, you said this, or there's no confusion. So just be 100% and on the same team. And that way you can weather the storm, because the trials are going to come.
Yeah.
The storm will come.
Oh, yeah.
And so you just need to come closer in those times rather than point fingers and blame each other for why we're in this situation.
That's cool. And you say grow together.
Yeah.
Spend that time growing together. As you said that, I was reminded Jeffrey R. Holland.
Yeah.
One time said this in a meeting that I was in, and I was just blown away. I don't know why. It's the only thing for this meeting that I remember. I literally got to go shake his hand, everything. I don't remember any of that. This is the one thing. And he goes, there's going to come a point where you're going to, you and your spouse, you're going to raise a family, kids will move out, and there's going to be the first meal when you're sitting across the table from each other and you're empty nesters.
Yeah.
He's like, you're either going to be sitting across the table from your best friend or a stranger. And he looked at everybody, as you can tell his intensity. He's like, you better make sure it's your best friend. And I was like, holy smokes. Like, grow together.
It is. Yeah, absolutely. Grow together. And if you're considering having more kids, have them. Just have them. Don't worry about all the reasons why not to have them, or how you're not going to be able to afford it, or how we don't have time, or all your other aspirations. But children, prove us out. They help us be better and help us be our best self. So
that's deep. That's cool.
Cool. Kids are cool, dude.
That's freaking awesome. I love it. Well, thank you for going deep on that for a minute.
Yep.
Okay, so let's pivot just a little bit.
Yeah.
Lease End is growing. We're growing fast. We just celebrated 4 years.
Yeah, dude.
Not wild. I mean, I haven't been here all 4 years. I wish I was, but that's like...
Can you believe most companies don't even make it a year, and we made it 4?
That's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And thrived through the 4, and which is really cool. With that growth has come, a lot of growth for employees. Like a lot of people are being stretched in opportunity that they weren't preparing for. They wasn't something that they were anticipating, and now they have an opportunity at their hands. And every employee really has something that they can do to take advantage of the opportunity every single day. But there's a lot of leaders from the ground level up to C-level executives. You're in a position as a CEO of like kind of, heading out this company and the direction that they're going in and whatnot. But if you had the opportunity to sit down with leaders, especially here at Lease End, like what is that belief system or a piece of advice that you would plant in them and say, hey, as you're leading your people, like don't forget this or keep this in mind?
Yeah. That's a good question, dude. That's a deep one for me.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, it's just the servant leadership role that, there's a Chinese proverb that says, if your plan is for a year, grow rice. If your plan is for 10 years, grow trees. And if your plan is for 100 years, you grow people. And so that would be my advice for our leaders is to grow people. Like the business is what it is, it's going to be here. It's going to grow because of the people. So focus on the people, serve them. We make a lot of decisions as leaders, but our ability to reduce friction and to let people do what they want to do, that they're good at, that's, and grow professionally, and so I would just ask our leaders to dig deep and how can they grow as a person? What can they do? What goals do they have? What do they want to accomplish? And then to help those that they lead do the same thing. So it's about grown people, dude.
About grown people.
That's all this business is.
That's all life is, right? It's like
right.
You're growing people, whether you're in the family or, in the business. It is a people business.
Yep, it really is. And dude, we are so stinking lucky here.
We are. We're very blessed. And that's going to be my last question for you as we're wrapping this thing up.
Yeah.
Is what are you most excited about with the future of Lease End? Because this is just, it's unbelievable.
Well, what I'm most excited about is that we continue to hit our goals. Like we set out, 4 years ago, and we wanted to do this, and we wanted to be, we wanted to capture market share. Like we could 5 times the size of our business and only be 5% of the market share. And so that's what I'm most excited about is getting to 1%, which we should do this year, and then getting to 5%. Like how cool would it be to say that, we're affecting 5% of all leases, or that we touch them, or that we do business with that many people. And so what's I'm most excited about is that is a realistic, we've proven it out.
Yeah.
Like, so now as we grow people, let's just execute and help each other, let's 5X this thing to 5% market share.
Yeah.
Like that's a real thing, to really believe that can happen. And so that's what I'm most excited about.
Dude, you light up when you just started talking
I know,
about it.
dude.
You just
I'm
light up.
jacked up right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's so true. Grow the people and focus on that. Like, hey, we're going to go impact 5% of this market share. And it's so doable.
Yeah.
The very few businesses have the ability to say that that's something that they can go and achieve.
With DOBA, it was hard to explain to my mom what we do.
Yeah.
But my mom and most people get our business.
Yeah.
It's so simple. It's so sexy. It's such a cool product.
Yeah.
That we really have the team. We have the product. We have the growth in front of us, the market share. Everything's there.
Oh,
let's go do it, dude.
Do you know what's so funny is every time I've explained this to somebody what we do, like you said, so easy to understand, and they always follow it up with, how did somebody not think of this before?
How many times have you heard that, right?
It's like, it really is such a simple concept, but like, and I removed myself from the equation before I was even here. You guys executed so stinking well at the vision and executing from a tech play to, the customer experience, like, from the employee standpoint, anybody in titling understands this, but outside of titling, most people think that it's just a quick transaction with the driver.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we're married to them for 45, 60 days.
Yeah.
Depends on the, and we've done that for 35,000 drivers over the last 4 years. And like the customer experience is
we're
great.
going to do 2,000 this month, dude.
Let's
now,
go.
Now we'll
be at 37,000 at the end, or 38,000.
Holy smokes.
Yeah, unbelievable. So
cool.
We appreciate your leadership, B-Dub. We're grateful for you.
I appreciate you guys. Our whole team. Like, you just can't, just get out of their way. And everyone is just performing so well. And, like I say, it's a privilege every day for me to come to work and to learn from our awesome team. Yeah. I just love it.
Well, we appreciate it. We'll keep crushing it.
Okay, buddy.